Laba. Hello everyone, my name is Tracy Lun and I'm from Myanmar. Today I'm going to present about education system in Myanmar. Do you know Myanmar is one of the poorest country in the world and most ethnically diverse and conflict-prone society in Southeast Asia. Myanmar has an estimated population of over 50 million, of which 60% are under the age of 18 years. Yet, 40 years ago, Myanmar was a country with a progressive education system. Ethnic Myanmars make up 68% of the population, with the other major minority groups such as Kachin Kaya, Kayin Chin, Mon, and Rakhine. So today, let us look at what are the education systems in Myanmar. In this presentation, I'm not going to present all the education system in Myanmar, but there are three things that I will explain in this presentation. The first one is going to be structure on level of the education system, and the second part will be the challenges and challenges facing in Myanmar, and the third part will be the development which are now taking place in Myanmar. The structure and level of educations. Let us look at the first things. Education in the Union of Myanmar is mainly under the responsibility of the Ministry of Education. The Ministry of Education provides policy formulation and coordination through various councils from under the ministry. The educational structure is 5-4-2, with 5 years at the primary level, 4 years at the middle level, and 2 years at the higher level. And the issues, let us look at the issues. What are the challenges and issues in Myanmar? First, let us look at the education system and issues. What are the issues are, okay? So the preschool education, which is less than 10% of the population attends preschool, because most children who attend are from wealthier families and in the major urban areas such as Mandalay and Rangoon. They started at the age of 5 years. And primary education system, and there are 3 years of lower primary schooling, with the children usually commencing at the age of 6 years and completing at the age of 9. This is dependent on the number of factors such as high repetition rates and low student retention and completion rates. Dropout rates are really high, make up of 50% according to the Asia Development Bank 2003. Even though the government indicates that only 6% of children in primary and 6.1% in lower secondary level leave school before the end of 5th grade due to the number of factors, mainly because to the economic pressures from the families for their children to assist them in subsistence farming or other economic enterprises. The language of instruction in the mainstream is the language mostly we use Burmese language in the classroom, but that's why from ethnic groups they are really suffer because they are lack of language skills. They have to learn Burmese language again, so it's really hard for them. And the secondary education, as I say, at 4 years they started, 4 years at the lower secondary level and 2 years at the upper level. In this case also, they have secondary education includes lower secondary level, middle school consisting of grade 5 to 8, and upper secondary high school is from grade 9 to 10. There are higher dropout rates in secondary level than the primary level because of it's getting expenses for school fees and both real and opportunity associated with the attending school. This is primary because parents are concerned about the lower quality of education and because they need their children to provide economic input at home or at work, so they don't have time to go to school and they don't have enough money to support. Not only that, okay, for those who are really, it's really difficult for the family to survive if the children are attending the school. There are some private schools in Myanmar for parents who are rich enough to be able to pay for the international qualifications. However, the numbers are small and students have to study up to grade 12 in order to get the international qualification, to indicate that their English is at a sufficient level to study at an overseas university teaching in English. Technical and vocational education. In this education, most students, they are not really interested in to study because they think that their perception, they think that we just doing technical and vocational schools is low status and the wages lower and it's not a professional work. So another thing is tertiary education. It is reported by the Myanmar authorities there are about 30 universities and another 35 institutions are listed as colleges operated by the Ministry of Education. Tertiary education is mostly under the control of MOE and access is free. The most well-known Myanmar tertiary education is Yangon University with an estimated enrollment of 14,500 students, 13,500 undergraduate and 1,000 postgraduate. So now let us look at another challenges of Myanmar education system. There are a lot of challenges in Myanmar, but I will just mention a few challenges due to the lack of timing. The common problem in Myanmar is the lack of up-to-date or reliable information. Some of the organizations such as ADNB, foreign governments, and the BBC and the various NGOs, they have conducted their own surveys, but much of these data are also out of date and or contradict each other. A recent Save the Children in Myanmar analysis report, for example, like official literacy rate for 2006 was supposed to be 94.35%, according to the recent Education for All statistics. But a recent UN survey found the functional literacy rate to be only 53%, which is really not reliable data. And another one of the biggest problem is lack of infrastructure, especially in the information technology. Access to the internet is highly restricted and slow, and even when the students are able to use it, they are monitored by the security forces. Students tend to use access to NGOs, embassies, and especially the British Council, which they have their own security networks. Online access to courses such as virtually useless, and the only way students are able to use curriculum electronically is through the use of CDs. But in this case, the other mentions like now we cannot use any internet in Myanmar. But nowadays the time is changing. and I do not really agree to this order, because now you can find a lot of internet shop and cafe in Myanmar, but there are some places their connection might be slow. Okay, and the Myanmar government has relented for many years to allow other organizations to provide assistance to public education sector. And also, let us look at the quality assurance and curriculum. The issues related to this quality assurance are virtually non-existent due to the lack of training staff, and issue owing to the variable standards of training of staff at school and university levels. Due to the isolation from the Western educations, there are virtually no benchmark to indicate whether the education system is doing really good. Okay. Also, it talks about difficulty of improvement in teachers and teacher methodology, and the wages are very low for the teachers, so they seek other work and the children are left behind. Okay, they have to study by themselves, and it is because the wages are lower, so the teacher has to give the extra work. They have to try to find a way to make money so that they can support their family. Otherwise, just the government salary is not enough to support the whole family. For those who are a big family, it is more worse. It is really worse. Okay, so let us look at the monastic education. Generally, Myanmar's monastic education schools accept children from needy families who live near the school's surrounding area, who are not unable to attend the government schools. The schools are required to cooperate closely with township education authorities to be officially recognized, but their operation finance really heavily relying on the donations and cooperation from the public. In some cases, parents are able to, for those who parents can support, they have to contribute at least some amount of money to monastic schools. However, the level of educational qualifications of Buddhist monks is really low. It's not high enough to teach the students. So it reflects the standard of education that they are able to provide the students. And also another case, the challenges are public expenditure on education is estimated to have average 18.1% of the state budget in November 2008, but only 1.1% of GDP at the beginning of the period. They use it. Okay. However, we have to keep in mind that the data is not audited. Okay, and because mostly the expenditures, the finance, they will go to training the military and buying new equipment. Finally, let us look at the third part for major development in education. What are the development is taking place in Myanmar? According to the policy of making sure children in developing countries get a good education, which was published on this year, January, and the UK and Australia, they will work together to help over 2,000 children in Burma to complete just the basic education. And also at International Development Secretary Justin Greening and Australian Foreign Ministry Bob also said, okay, Myanmar, there really needs education system to improve the quality of education system, and they will help the children, for those, especially those who are suffer from conflicts in areas like Rakhine and Kachin states. And also in Myanmar, conflict and vulnerability to natural disasters such as the cyclones in the Irrawaddy division, Irrawaddy Delta, it has a huge uncertainty and disruption for families. So children can miss out of their schools and many years of schooling. They don't have chance to study at all because their families, they don't have place to stay, and then now no income. So the children are really suffering from that cyclones. And also MEC, the MEC, which is Myanmar Education Consortium, and they will help families to continue sending their children, including girls, to school. And this program is right to look beyond the formal education system to alternative providers so that these children don't miss out. And we need to make sure that the recent violence and natural disaster don't turn into the long-term disaster for Myanmar's children, according to the International Development Secretary Justin Greening and Australia Foreign Minister Bob Kerr. And also Australia Foreign Minister Bob, and he said that in the last 18 months, the formal education program has been placed in Myanmar, and they have provided over 6,000 children with essential learning supplies and textbooks. And they have trained 90,500 teachers and benefited 17,500 children with early childhood services, such as setting up school-based preschools for 3 to 5 years old. In the past, we did not have, mostly the children did not have chance to go to preschools because of lack of money. And also, according to the title, Historic Chance for Higher Education in Myanmar, University World Press, according to the University World Press, which is written by Alan E. Goodman, published on March this year. Alan E. Goodman, he is the president and CEO of the Institute of International Education. And he said that this is real opportunity for them, and their IIE is ready to work with the corporations and investors who are interested in developing talent to support an education system in Myanmar. Because Myanmar really needs a higher education system that can produce students capable of critical thinking, innovation, as well as an investment in infrastructure, such as internet, libraries, teaching and laboratory facilities. And lastly, I would like to say that also European Union has pledged to assist improving qualities of Myanmar University in long term. According to the David Mann, who is the EU ambassador to Myanmar, he also conducted the workshop on quality of higher education in Myanmar last year recently. In conclusion, I would like to say that as I have mentioned all the challenges and developments which are going to taking place, and also the challenges such as lack of information, data, infrastructure, education policy, teaching training, quality assurance, and curriculum, so on. However, there are some of the organizations who are willingness to help to improve the Myanmar's education system. It is now time to reassess the situation for education in Myanmar. The government should allow some of the organizations to engage in distance education, tourism training, IT training, and to improve education system. Apart from that, the government should rebuild the country's infrastructure, improve the education system, quality assurance, and improve the teaching methodology. Basically, education system, and also the government should have benchmark to improve the education system. Without a benchmark, I think it is really difficult for Myanmar's education system to, for government to implement into the right path of education. So there are also government should increase the teachers' salaries and encourage and support professional development, and also should give free benefits to those who like the students they are really need. They are not possible to attend the higher education. The government should also more budgets on development education instead of putting a lot of money on military training and buying equipment. The government should also, I think, that they should change their whole system, education system, because most of learning methods are traditional of learning. It means the teachers is the one who is teaching in the classroom. There is no participating in the classroom, and no critical thinking, no creativity at all. And students are just the listener, and they have to memorize what the teachers have taught them. Basically, the teachers just teach them to pass the exams and not for the long-term learning. It is also become the part of the customs that the students give higher respect to the students, and therefore there is no interactions participating in the classroom. They have to take whatever the teachers have taught them, and it creates like lack of creativity and critical thinking. However, some opportunities do not exist for Western education institutions and NGOs to engage with Myanmar and to have a positive influence on its next generation. Therefore, I hope that my government in Myanmar will do the right decision to boost the quality of higher education system in Myanmar in the near future. Now, this is just not for the benefit for the country, but for the society as a whole. Thank you very much. Oh, by the way, if you would like to know more about the education system in Myanmar, you may please feel free to visit the following website. Thank you very much.